All right, we'll get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Christian Bowen. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction in the Valley Stream Central High School District. On behalf of the district, we would like to thank you for attending tonight's Parent Forum, Microsoft Teams 101. As we have begun the 2021 school year in a remote and hybrid context, we recognize the need to support our community, and as such, we have developed a series of parent workshops. For those of you that are new to these forums, you can view previous recordings under parent resources on the district website, as well as the listing of upcoming forums over the next few months. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce our presenters for tonight's forum. From Nassau BOCES, our technology trainer, Chrissy Breglia.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We also have Chris Tofolo, Library Media Specialist from North.
Good evening, everyone.
Laura Santamaria from South.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Dr. Jennifer DeMeo, District Director of Instructional Services.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Also on our panel tonight, we have Samantha Cipriano, counselor from Central.
Good evening, everyone. It's so great to see everyone here. Thank you for being here.
Laura Mesa, counselor from Memorial.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Mace. I'm one of 4 counselors at Memorial Junior High School. Welcome.
And our District Director of Guidance, Kelly Whitney Rivera.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you to our presenters and panelists. At this point in time, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Mayo. Dr. DeMeo, we hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen, and thank you everyone again for being here and taking the time. Our purpose tonight is really to get you all feeling comfortable with what your children are experiencing every single day, whether they're at home or whether they're in our school buildings. Chrissy, can you go to the next slide? So we're going to start today with an overview of remote instruction and how to create a work environment at your home. Because whether your child is full remote or hybrid or our school suffers an intermittent closure, you need to figure out how to create the learning space that's going to be most successful for them. I'm going to then turn it over to Chrissy Breglia from BOCES, who has worked in all 4 of our buildings extensively with our staff and with our students to kind of show you what it looks like from the student perspective and highlight some of the aspects of teams that your children encounter every day. Next, Ms. Santa Maria from South is going to give you teacher perspective and some tips to help support your child. And then finally, Mr. Tofolo from North is going to show some resources that he's helped to create that live on our district website to help you troubleshoot in case of technical issues and just other support issues that you might need. Okay, so Chrissy, sorry to boss you around, but if you wouldn't mind the next slide. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the home and remote learning environment. And you'll see on the right, I pasted a copy of the bell schedule. So you're probably all very aware right now that our classes, when they're happening in remote fashion, are 30-minute blocks happening with a 15-minute break after. That way your child who's at home can focus for those 30 minutes and then take a 15-minute break and then get right back at it at a predictable interval. The children who are in school, of course, are sitting there for a little bit longer and then have time to pass for the next class. But during that 30 minutes, that is when the instruction is happening for all students. So how can you best support your child to have a successful home work environment? Of course, just like a regular school day, lots of things I'm going to say are the same whether they're in school or home. You want to start your child off with enough sleep and with breakfast, supplies, and anything that they need to start their day. We are all much happier when we're fed. We're all much happier when we feel prepared for the day to start. So it's very important that before class starts, that your child has something to eat, gets the things that they need, and kind of sits down to the work environment. What does the work environment look like? You want to try to find a quiet place for your child to work. Many of us are now working from home, so you know the importance of finding that space and carving it out so that you can focus on what you need to do. The same goes for your child. And we've seen that many of our students are attending class from their bedrooms, which is absolutely fine. But we would definitely prefer that they don't attend class from their beds. So it's kind of important for them to get up out of bed, get dressed, get changed, and be prepared for the day. When class starts, your child should be early. Please don't sign on or encourage them. I'm assuming that we might have some children watching with their parents tonight, or you're going to discuss this with your children after. So please encourage them to be early to class, just like we would want them to be early in the regular school year. We want them to be ready to log on, and when the teacher starts the meeting, they're all present in the meeting. And part of that participation and part of that being ready is having the camera turned on, having the mic turned on, and being ready to participate into the class. So teachers are using a variety of different methods to engage their students in learning. Some teachers are using the chat feature. Some teachers are using interactive software. Some teachers are just talking to their kids. But when we're talking to the teachers in our district, they want to engage with your children. They miss being in class with them. They miss seeing them on a daily basis. They miss, having those little conversations. So it's very deflating to host a meeting, to host a class, and to have all cameras turned off. To have all microphones muted and no one wants to participate. So to the extent that you can encourage them, that's really the setup that we want. We want your children participating. We want them engaged in learning, because we all know that if we're involved, we're learning better than if we're just sitting there and trying to absorb information. And it's hard to focus. We're all getting that screen burnout, right? I sat in front of the computer all day today. Now we're back at it tonight. It's much better when we're all talking to each other and actively involved in that learning process. A few more suggestions for creating that home learning environment. Take a break in between classes and a device-free break. So the kids have 15 minutes, get a snack, go to the bathroom, talk to someone else in the house, chill out. Playing video games in between classes, not a good idea. Starting to watch a TV show or binge something on Netflix, not a good idea. They need a break from all media. We all do, I think. We all need a break from the computers and the screen time, but very important for us to try to help them. And as the kids get older, we find it harder to convince them of this, but even the older kids need our assistance in getting away from the devices that they're spending so much time on. If they were in school, they wouldn't be texting their friends during class. If they were in school, they wouldn't have their heads down on their desks. So we want to encourage behaviors similar to what we would see in school. If they were in school, they would be chatting with their friends. They'd be working collaboratively. Obviously, it's not safe to physically do that right now, but it's important that using whatever the teacher encourages, that our students are engaged in the class. 2 more tips for you. And Ms. Santa Maria is going to talk about this a little bit too later. We have extra help Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Utilize that extra help. Lots of our teachers are saying that kids are just not showing up. Extra help is for virtual and in-person learners. And if your child needs extra help, please encourage them to attend. And for you and your child, chat with the teachers, chat with the school counselor, chat with the support staff. Everybody is here to support you. Everybody is here to help you to make the best of this strange year and to really help support your child. So please reach out when you need the help. I'm going to show you the VSCHSD website later, and that's your resource for all contact information that you need in order to get in touch with the staff at our schools. Okay. Thanks, Christy. We can go to the next. And also, to be a little bit more specific, let's talk about that positive workspace. We know that not everybody has the luxury of being in a huge house with separate offices. Right now, I'm carving out a little space of a room, hoping that my children don't run behind me while I'm having this meeting. So we all understand that it's very difficult, but to the extent that it's possible, a desk or a table is the best workspace. It feels professional, it feels serious, it feels like the kind of environment where I'm going to get down and do work. So we want your child to be at a place where they can sit in a comfortable chair, just like they would, well, probably more comfortable at home than at school, but having a chair that simulates that school environment, trying to have a clutter-free area so that they're not distracted, and a spot with lots of light. Because if we're sitting in the darkness, we're thinking sleep, we're thinking fatigue, we're not focused on the task at hand. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. No couch, no bed, no floor, some kind of upright standard desk environment. Quiet is essential. We know that, again, like I said, there's not an endless supply of space in everybody's house, but to the extent that it's possible, have your child be in a place or a corner of a room where the noise level is low. There shouldn't be TV on in the background. There shouldn't be people running back and forth if it can be avoided. Sometimes it can't be avoided, but if it can be avoided, it's really important for them to be able to concentrate on their learning. If they can't avoid other people, wearing a headset and kind of blocking out that noise is another way that we would suggest that they focus. Gather all the supplies before class starts so that they don't have to get up in the middle to find something, whether it be a calculator or a stylus or a charger for their device, and eliminate those distractions. Again, we know it's hard. We know, especially when you're in your house, you have all of your comforts in front of you. You're thinking about what you can do to break away and have a break. But to the extent possible, those 30 minutes of class are the 30 minutes for learning. So we want to keep video games, TVs, and even phones away. And again, I know I've said this before, but I just want to repeat some positive behaviors. Having a healthy snack and water right there and taking those breaks in between classes from the screen are really going to help set up a schedule that's regular so that your child every day is doing the same thing and being successful, right? That's what we're all here for, to help provide that routine and to help provide that structure. And those are my recommendations for you, okay? So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chrissy Bralia, who's going to walk you through some specific Teams information.
Everyone, and again, thanks for joining us. I'm Chrissy Bralia, and I'm the model schools trainer from Nassau BOCES. I'm a certified teacher, and I've been working for like the last 4 years with the teachers here at Valley Stream. So Teams is our content management system, and that just means it's a place that students and teachers use to communicate information. Teachers can give out assignments, students can check their grades, they could send files, all kinds of things like that they can do, as well as now in this hybrid situation, access the Teams meetings. It's part of the Office 365 suite that they have through their Valley Stream email. So there is not a separate parent logon for Microsoft Teams, but the students log on with their @vschsd.org email. So in order for you to be able to check and see what's going on with your child, you can have them log in for you with their Valley Stream email so that you could see the teams, the assignments that are due, the kinds of work and things like that that are taking place in the classroom. So what I want to do tonight is I want to take you through a demo, pretty like high level look at what your child sees when they interact with Teams in their classroom or at home, however they're using it. So I'm just going to click on this link here, and this is going to be available for you later on. And it's going to take us to Microsoft, and just give it a minute to come up. But Microsoft has a nice demo from the student point of view that's going to take you through all the parts that your child will see. So the kids have a couple of different ways to access Teams. The way I usually do it, and the way most of them do it on their school device, is they just click on the Teams app that's already installed on their computer. If for some reason they can't do that, they can log into their Office 365 account as a starting point. And there's a link for that right on the Valley Stream homepage. And once they click on that, log into Office 365, they're going to see something that looks like the screen you see now. So in demo, we have a student who's at the middle school, and their teacher's using Teams just like we do. And this is the way the students are going to be able to access. So if they go through the web, they're going to go to Office 365, and they're going to click sign on. And then it's going to take them to a screen here where it has their email and brings them to their dashboard. From their dashboard, they're able to get to any of their Office 365 apps. We're going to focus on Teams right now, but this is also where they can check their email. They can go to their OneDrive, which is their cloud storage. They can open a Word document, an Excel, a PowerPoint, and they're able to get to all of that there. But they're just going to click on that purple Teams icon. And it's
See,
gonna
we don't have the icon screen. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's weird.
We still have the demo screen up.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, bear with me one sec. And I'm going to have to stop the share and reshare it. All right, let me know if you are seeing the screen now, Jen.
Yes, we can see your Teams homepage with the blue box.
Perfect. So the icon that they clicked brings them here to their dashboard. On their dashboard, you're going to see that they'll have a little tile for every class they're a part of. So this particular student has algebra, physical science, social studies, English, geometry, and biology. They also may have a library page. They may have a club that they may be a part of, but here they're able to access all of their different teams. They could set it up however they want. All of these tiles are movable. They can just drag them into the order that they like. Okay. Now you'll be able to create a team if you needed to, or if they're not already rostered. In the case of their academics, they'll be rostered, but if they're joining a team or an after-school program or even an extra help team, they may need to join by code. So here is where they'll be able to put in the code they're given by the teacher to join that particular team. Hitting the back button takes them back here, and we're going to jump into this physical science. But they're all going to look similar, whichever class that your child's using, they're all set up in a very similar way. The main part of the teams is the posts. The post is a place where students can get messages from their teachers for the whole class. Anything on this big white area here is open to the whole class. Anything on the side here on this blackish purple band is going to be individual to your own child. Any activity in all of their teams, any chats they might have with a classmate that they're working on a project with, or a teacher, a way to get back to their teams, a way to check upcoming assignments, a calendar to see when their meetings are, and access any files they've used in here. But the teams is how we communicate with the class as a whole. So here, the teacher could send out an announcement. So this says updated due date for group project. So this teacher extended the deadline. They give the students the information, and then students and teachers can all reply to each other here. So here you could see that there are some replies from the students in the class. This is where they're able to interact with the teacher and each other. So this one here is a great question. How many different animals use this as a defense? This one's thanking their teacher. So they interact with each other by replying to discussions, liking messages, asking questions. So if a student has a question about an announcement or post, this is where they can ask the teacher or the class as well. It's also a place that a lot of teachers hold class discussions or put in thought questions. Here is how a student can reply. So they just click underneath what's already there, or down here where it says start a new conversation. And this, in this case, where the student type in a question for the teacher or class. So here they could add that, and you can see that it automatically appears here underneath. So when students are learning remotely, they might be invited also to then go to different meetings about that. But here it's one to let you know, teachers could also attach documents, smiley faces, animated GIFs, videos, polls. So that's what the posts area is used for. Class discussions, class announcements. Another big one we're using, particularly during this hybrid time, is students can be invited to join teachers and class leads virtually for their class. So we know that every day that our children are logging in, if they're home or it's their hybrid day, to a different class, and they're able to get it either in the team or on their calendar. So if I click the calendar icon, it's going to open up my calendar at some point. Okay, so here you can see this is typically what a student's calendar will look like. It's not the same type of calendar you find like in Outlook. This is a meetings calendar only. If students are working on a group project and they need to meet with their classmates, they could choose this meet now and they're able to have a meeting. They also here on their calendar will see my physical science lab, starts on Tuesday at 9:30 in the morning. All they need to do is click this join button and it will bring them into their class meeting. This is what they'll see when they join. They click join. Teachers do have control over some of the options for students. Students may have to go into a virtual waiting room so that they're not in the class unsupervised before the teacher's in the meeting. And they're just sort of in like a virtual waiting room by themselves. Students can adjust their cameras. Here's where they make sure their camera's on, and they can mute themselves to join the meeting and then turn it on when they need to answer a teacher's question or ask a question or participate there. There's a lot of other things that the teachers can do with the meetings. They can use breakout rooms, they can share things in the chat, and those are the things that are taking place during the live class meetings. So besides the meetings and the posts, teachers can also share their screen, just like I am within the class meeting. So in this science class, we're going to be doing a lesson on how sharks move. So students join as attendees, which means that the teacher has control over who can share their screen and who can speak. So teachers can give students the ability to share their screen, particularly in an extra help environment. If your student doesn't understand something, occasionally, it's hard to maybe get that across without showing it. The teacher can allow your child to show the view on their screen so they could walk them through, click here or here's what you do. So that's nice that the teacher can kind of control all of that through their meeting. Here's an example of that meeting chat. So the students can talk to each other, ask questions, and contribute. They also can raise a virtual hand right here. So if they have a question during their class, they can let the teacher know that they have a question and the teacher can call on them. And then when everything's over, the teacher can leave it and end the call for everyone. So now that's over and I get dumped back into my classroom team. So now once my meeting's over with my students, they may have an assignment or a file or something that they need to work on. So in order to keep track of their assignments, there's a whole assignments tab right here. When you click on that assignments tab, it's going to bring me a list of all the assignments that are due in this class. So here I could see is the group project and how many points it's worth. Down here, you could see a bunch of assignments that I've already completed. So if I click on this assignment, here's what I see as a student. So this one has a rubric. So the rubric pops up. So I know exactly how my teacher is going to grade me for articulation and effort, what I need to do to get an excellent, what I need to do to get a good. Same thing for spelling and grammar and creativity. I could close this up and look at the rest of my project here. Gives me the name of the project, when it's due. So I better get busy because this is due tomorrow at midnight. I'm going to refer to the attached document. So you can see right here, here's where the teacher adds on documents or things that I might need to work on my project. So if I also see any work I need to add over here are the points, here is that rubric, but this is a really important part of the immersive reader. If you have a child that struggles in the class, maybe they have some kind of accommodations and need things read to them, Microsoft Teams has a built-in immersive reader, which will give some helps to students that need it. So if they click on that immersive reader icon, it opens this up in a much bigger screen where I have control over my text size. I can make it bigger or smaller. I can increase the spacing between my words. I can change fonts. I could put on a darker theme if I need to. So that's all very, very useful. I can then check grammar options. So if I need the syllables, if I have trouble with words, I can put the syllables on. They can also choose to highlight parts of speech if they need to. So here I can make all of my nouns purple. And then I have a reading preference. And my reading preference can be very, very useful. If you need to focus, you could turn on align focus to read. Make sure you don't forget or miss a part of the project directions that are really important. They also have a translation available. So if your student is an English language learner, or maybe you yourself is trying to help your child and you have some difficulties with the English language, this will translate for you. So I could choose translation, and it translates into, I believe it's 68 different languages. So it picked French for me right now. I could translate my entire document. So you could see now that it translated this whole document into French, and it will read in about 44 of those languages. It also has a picture dictionary. So if you click on a particular word, it will give you the word in the language you chose as well as a picture. And here the play button will play it in English right now. And then if I had translated it, it will play it in the language that I chose. So this particular demo doesn't have the audio on it, but you could see how it was jumping across this. And just so you know, Immersive Reader is built into many other Microsoft products. It works within Microsoft Word documents. It works within Teams itself. It works in some outside apps as well. So that's a great help for any student that needs some supports with their reading or their language skills. So I can click this arrow and it takes me out of the Immersive Reader and back into my assignment here. So if I click on this document here, it will allow me to open that. This particular one doesn't, but here's where the students will open it. Here's where they can add their own work to add on. So if I had to create here, that was my report that was in my OneDrive. So it now added the report or the homework that I did. Then this is an important part that you want to make sure that your child's doing. In order to actually get credit or to turn this into the teacher, they need to click the turn in button. When they hit turn in, they get a cute little animation. So one of the ways to know whether or not you've actually successfully turned in your work is to get that little animation. And students will then also be notified when their teacher has graded their work and returned it. So here you can see I get this little pop-up on the bottom as a student that says, my assignment was returned. So if the teacher is asking me to redo it, that's where my feedback will be. And here is my feedback from this teacher. It tells me it was returned Thursday, April 30th, 6:25. And then I would be able to get all of my feedback that the teacher may have given me here. The other feature or the next feature that your child's teacher is probably using is the class notebook. And in the digital world, this is sort of taking over for our physical notebooks. When I taught in the classroom, I used to tell my students, to buy a binder and some dividers and some loose leaf. This essentially makes an online version of that binder. Here's a place where the students and the teachers have areas that they share, collaboration spaces where they can work together to brainstorm an issue, to look at a document, to model. A content library is a place that the teacher can give extra copies of things. And then each student has their own personal notebook that only they and the teacher can see. When I click on my notebook here as a student, it's going to open up, and these are all of the different sections that my teacher has created for me. A class notes section, a quizzes, a volcano, homework, handouts, this ocean project I've been working on, and the labs. When I click on a certain section of my class notebook, here are the pages that I've worked on in class or the teacher has given me. So the students can write directly on these sheets of paper that the teacher puts into their notebooks. So I can choose draw, and I'm able to pick a pen essentially, and I can draw on this, not on this particular one, but that's what I would be able to do. So here, dorsal fin, second dorsal fin. Here are some of the texts that I might want to look at. It has different views for the student. So here you could see Immersive Reader can be used in here as well. And these navigation panes will open up any of my other pages. So if I quickly need to jump into another section like the collaboration space for classwork, I can now jump into one of these as well. So that basically is how that all works. So I'm going to jump back to the Teams page here. And that was a quick overview. That's really where you need to be able to find everything while you're going through all of that with your child to make sure that they have all of the features that they need. I don't know if any questions came up that were important while I was presenting, or if anyone else on the panel wants to add something.
Christy, there was a question about can things be deleted? Can students delete things? And I think we're talking about assignments and things like that.
So yeah, like a student can absolutely delete like their own work and not hand it in. Like there's no way for that to stay there. So if they got something back they didn't want you to see, they could delete it. The teacher will still have a record of it, but they can delete it in their own space.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Laura.
No, I was just wondering if there was a way that we can kind of like fix that little glitch there, or maybe do something so that the students are not able to do that.
So within the class notebook,
Yes.
if the teacher is using the class notebook for the homework or the work, they can lock a page after the student works on it. So then they would not be able to delete anything. It's just if it's a document that they've handed in themselves, like a worksheet or something that they handed in through assignments, they still can control some of it. But in a class notebook, the teacher can lock it after they grade it, and the student would not be able to delete it.
Do you recommend that so that, it's not at a point where the student can't complete it?
Yeah, I mean, if there's an issue, definitely where that's been happening, or they were worried that that was going to happen, yeah, I could definitely lock that screen. Or when they hand it in, I can also, it's already in my grade book, so I have a copy, so I certainly can send it back. But if it's work they're handing in, if you do it in the notebook, then you could lock it. It's really the only way that you could keep them from not turning in something blank, or saying it was blank or something along those lines.
Chrissy, Mr. Topola also responded that though when the student starts typing anything, it's going to save to their SharePoint and the OneDrive. So there is a digital copy there within the student's own account. So if you as the parent are unsure and you want to check things, please, again, you don't have your own access to their account, but you can ask them to sit with you on their district issued device, log in with them, and ask them to give you a little recap of what they've been doing so that you can play around also.
Right.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to jump in. Something that is a good I was going to say good afternoon. Good evening. This is Chris Tafol. I'm the school librarian at Valley Stream North. I'm in classrooms every single day, and I've seen so much growth since the beginning of the year with staff and with students getting very comfortable with using Teams. So your students may be very, very well versed in this. Whether or not they want to let you know that or not is a different story, but they, a lot of students know how to use this and navigate it well. The one thing I just wanted to make crystal clear that can be confusing when you first start down your Microsoft Office journey is that Microsoft Teams is the platform that they're communicating with, and they're making assignments, as Ms. Breglia just showed. And then it works in conjunction with the class notebook, which is OneNote class notebook, which is kind of a, it's another application that Microsoft works with that works with Microsoft Teams. So you have OneNote and you have OneNote class notebook and you have Microsoft Teams, and they're always talking to each other back and forth. So if you're with your students and they're saying to you, hey, I'm in my class notebook on OneNote, and then just know that that means that they're doing their work, they're doing their assignments. It's just, it doesn't mean that just because they're not in Teams that they're not doing their class work. They kind of like live in two places. I just wanted to make that clear, is that they're going to be working in multiple apps. Teams is always like the main one that they're coming back to and communicating with, but they can definitely be working in their notebook as well. It's kind of like I always think about it as that if Teams is the digital version of the classroom, your class notebook, OneNote class notebook, is your binder that you're bringing to the class every day that that you use for your supplies.
Cool. Yeah. So I am going to go to the next slide, and I think I'm going to turn this over to
Me.
Miss Santa Maria.
all right, Miss Santa Maria, take it away.
Hi, thank you. Welcome, everyone. You know, I'm glad Chris mentioned that about the OneNote. I do often recommend for my students, if we're going to use the class notebook, often we'll go to it through Teams because that's where we started the lesson. And then there's an option for them to open it in open it in a new browser, open it in OneNote. And that's usually what I recommend for my students. There's more applications. There's prettier colors to draw with. So, you know, we try to make everything kind of fun. There's little like rainbow pens and things like that. And I know a couple of people asked about printing. Up in the upper right-hand corner, there's 3 dots. You just can't do it from the school device. You'd have to do it from your from like a desktop at home that's connected to a printer. But you are able to print that. You just want to make sure that maybe preview first, because the notebook pages are really broad. So preview first and maybe make sure they're not printing 25 pages of blank space before you do that. So I'm a math teacher at Valley Stream South High School. So, you know, I've been getting used to Teams myself. The students have been teaching me some things, and I've taught them a little bit. When assignments are returned, this is a big one. Please encourage your child to look at the score and the feedback. Chrissy just showed that to you. You know, when it's returned to a student, sometimes even in math, I'll return an assignment and I'll see that they left out something, and maybe I don't want to grade it yet until everything is in the assignment. Maybe I do a project, but I can certainly see this in an English classroom. You know, please make revisions before you hand it back in. And if the student's not looking, they just see, oh, I handed it in, it was returned, done. They might not know that they don't have a grade yet. And then eventually that could turn into a 0, and no one wants that. So definitely take a look at the score and the feedback when assignments are returned. If you're looking for assignments for all of the classes, that's when you would look on that left-hand side. You can sort of see it right now on the screen. There's the activity, the chat, the teams, the assignments. That assignments, thank you. That assignments, that's for your child. That will be for all of their classes. If they're looking for just math, then they would go in through teams and go to the assignments that we saw that was on the top. Okay, so they can get to it either way. The assignments tab that's on the side, it's listed by due date. So if you have a child who wants more help, maybe organizing, especially if you have, you know, a younger child who's just getting used to having all these different classes, certainly looking at that tab with all of the assignments that are organized by due date might be a good way that you can help them make a plan, you know, for the week, the weekend, you know, whatever the case may be. I would definitely encourage your child to communicate with your teachers. I know that you know, it's sometimes hard to unmute, and especially if the students don't know the teachers very well and they don't know the other students in class. You know, certainly some of our 7th grade students, you know, are still getting to know everyone. Make a point to ask your child, you know, have you sent a chat to your teacher? You know, I definitely, the students who are sending me chats, not even on a regular basis, maybe twice this year, I remember them, they stand out, even if they're not speaking in class every day, because I know that they've like made this effort, you know, and so I'm trying to make the effort too, like, oh, who have I not chatted with yet? So they definitely want to be aware of that chat feature and definitely use it. Ms. DeMeo talked about the extra help. Definitely attend extra help. Most teachers have an extra help team. And if they're not sure, then have them chat their teacher. Say, hey, do you have an extra help team? How do I join so that I can come to extra help remotely? If your child is a hybrid student and they come to school on a day that the teacher has extra help, they can attend in person. So I definitely take advantage of that opportunity. You know, even if it's just one question, when it's remote extra help, you know, the students do sort of have to, you know, kind of jump back and forth between students. So it's nice if they have a question prepared instead of a, you know, kind of broad thing. But in my experience, my students, they've been very appreciative. Okay. And I can usually get to every student, you know, and it's just such a nice way to connect. Sometimes students who are more shy in the class are more willing to share when it's fewer people. So I would definitely take advantage of that. And the last little thing that I'm just learning, how to screenshot. Occasionally, for whatever reason, sometimes we were talking a little bit about the SharePoint and how everything's on the cloud. For whatever reason, sometimes in the assignments, if the kids type really fast and then turn it in, it hasn't finished like uploading. And so it might not like send everything completely. So I've said to the students, I said, you know, take a screenshot, save it. Okay, so that you have it. If I say, oh, that assignment was blank, you can say, no, it wasn't, here it is. You know, or sometimes, you know, teachers, oh, what are you working on right now? Let me see. Or we talked about extra help. If it's not set up, if it's hard to figure out how to share the screen, well, here's a screenshot. I'm just going to send it to you in the chat, and then teach, oh, I see what you're doing. Oh, you forgot to distribute the negative sign, you know, whatever it is. But I think that that's a really good, useful tool, and something that your child may know, but you may not know. So now you can help them with that. So if there are any other questions, I know there's a bunch that came in through the chat and I was not able to look at them. So
I see Mr. Topolo is answering some questions about the grade book, and a good reminder. So the assignments are posted here in the team, but ultimately the grades for your child are going to be listed on the parent portal, and the teachers have the responsibility within a time frame to report the grades earned to the parent portal. We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth as we go, but you as parents all have access to accounts through eSchool for the parent portal. And if you don't, you can contact your school guidance department to get that information. And we encourage you to be checking that regularly to see what the current grades are for your child, so that you don't have to log in through their team. All right, Mr. Topolo, I think we're going to turn it over to you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me just, okay, awesome. All right, good evening again, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. So I wanted to talk about some places you can go online to familiarize yourself for both you and for your students, because this journey, as I was saying before, I've seen so much growth with the kids and with the staff, and you're gonna be on that journey as well. And sometimes it can be extremely frustrating. I can't begin to tell you how many times I've heard someone say like, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? Or how do you do this? And just know that there are places that we have and videos and information that we have for you to help you through this process, because it is a learning process. So if your students have a tech problem that they have to deal with, there's a whole process for them to fill out. So we do have the, on the side over here, we have a request IT support. Took me a year to realize that everything on here is in alphabetical order. So if you're looking for R, it's right here in alphabetical order. And when I click on that, it's going to bring me to a place where I can, it'll bring me to the IT support where I can submit a ticket. Now from here, submitting a ticket might be something that might be a little difficult for kids to do. It might be a little difficult for you to do if you're not exactly sure of the process. But lo and behold, from the YouTube page, let me get to it here. We do have a whole video kind of walking you through the process and how to do this. So let me go to the office or VSCHSD, Office of Instruction. And it's right here. We currently have 76 subscribers. We'd love to get to 100 by the end of the night. And here we go. Let me go to playlists. So this is what I was talking about here. So we have getting started with Office 365. These are, let me mute this because you'll hear my voice twice. There we go. Okay, there we go. Let's turn some volume off. There we go. So you'll see that it's my computer screen. It's me going through the whole process. I'm narrating it, so it's not just like you're watching me click around on different buttons. You can kind of see I have them broken down by these icons by the app. So these are all about their student email. The students all have their own OneDrive, which is 1 terabyte of storage in the cloud. 1 terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes. So if you remember back when you would have like your iPods would have like 20 gigabytes of songs that you can put on it. This is 1,000 gigabytes in the cloud for them to store all of their documents in, so that as they go, they'll easily have everything available for them in the cloud. And then all of these Teams videos here, which in terms of like Teams 101 and for the goals of this forum, opening up a class, opening up files in Teams, opening and editing assignments in Teams, uploading an assignment, joining a class meeting on Teams. These are really the steps to do it. And it's just I tried to make them as concise as possible so they don't take up too much of your time. But within, a quick 4 minutes, you can become a master in all of these things. In addition to all of the Office 365, let's go back here. In addition to all the Office 365 videos on here, you'll find other things, other programs that our schools use. For example, as I'd mentioned before, I am the school librarian at Valley Stream North. But just because I'm at North and I'm creating these videos, these are not just solely North-centric stuff. These are for programs run through the entire district. So if your students were wondering about how they take out ebooks and use certain things that their school libraries offer, there's information on this as well. And you'll even see me down in the corner, kind of in this picture-in-picture. So this is an amazing place for you to go to find just a whole host of information. And you can even see in here, there are other meetings, other like forums that have been done that have been uploaded onto here. And you can peruse through this whole thing. And I've already seen, since I started speaking, we've gotten 3 more subscribers. So thank you very much to those of you in here. And that is that. So I turn it back over to the next presenter.
Thanks, Chris. And as you can tell, Chris has been super helpful in making sure that whatever the kids are encountering issues with, that he is trying to create a video to support that. And he has such a pleasant speaking voice, so it's nice to hear his happy voice as he's presenting those different instructional videos for us. He last took us to the IT page, which is an important page. And you're going to see on the top here, Chris, if you don't mind, if you want to keep sharing.
Yeah, sure.
On the top, I think there's right over here. If you click on IT support, lots of times we think we're having an issue and we don't know how to resolve it. So what the IT department has done has kind of run through, here are some things that you should look to do before you actually submit a ticket or a correction. Because lots of times, 90% of the time, the issue is just it needs a restart. The machine needs to reboot, it needs to load something new, it needs to sync. So it's just giving you a list of different things that you should do in order to get your child in the right spot. And of course, if none of that works, then submit a ticket, which is also on this page. That way you can get the help that you need. Our IT department has been awesome. They have been responding so quickly to all problems. We have IT in each of the buildings as well as IT at district, and they have adapted and changed. And of course, to brag a little bit and to appreciate everyone on this meeting, as well as all of the people doing the work every single day. It's been such a testing year for everyone, and they've all really done a wonderful job. And the kids are rising to the challenge, the adults are rising to the challenge. So lots of bad things to come in this year, but from our perspective, the learning and the sharing and the collaboration has been really wonderful, and IT is a big part of that. So we're going to send you this presentation when the night is over. I send it tomorrow, so you'll be able to have the direct links to these things. Kelly, if you would just go to the last slide. Just to wrap it up for tonight, you're all here because you want to help support your children, and we appreciate you being here. So what are the things very simply that you can do to help stay on the page and help keep your child succeeding academically? We want to recommend that you check the parent portal regularly. And I know that Ms. Whitney Rivera posted in the chat that there is going to be a parent portal presentation. It'll be January 6th, 2021, only a few weeks away at 7 p.m. You'll get an invite just like you got for this. So if you want to learn more about accessing information on the portal and just how to maneuver it a little bit better, that would be a great session for you to attend. Please make contact. Everybody is here. The teachers, the counselors, the administrators, everyone is working harder than ever to get in touch with your child. As Ms. Santa Maria said, teachers are chatting kids. It doesn't end. It's all hours of the day and the night, and everyone is really working their best to get kids engaged. And we want you to be a part of that also. Obviously, that's the full circle of family school connection. So please make contact and ask for any help that you need. Ask your child about their day. I have children myself. I said, what did you do today? Nothing. How was your day? Good. So I think we have to try to ask some more pointed questions. What was the most interesting thing that happened today? Did you have any tech issues like we had tonight? You know, ask questions that are going to get them talking as opposed to giving you that simple good and bad, because then you're going to get, you know, insight into what's actually happening in their day. Check into Teams with your child. Let's go, open up the computer, log on. I do that with my own child. She doesn't enjoy it, but we do it together. And it's just one way that I get to see what she's doing in her classes and what kind of, you know, activities she's expected to do and how she's participating. The parent portal presentation, like I said, is January 6th. And, you know, the last part of it is support. We're here to support you. We hope that this presentation was helpful for you. But also, this is a series of parent presentations intended to try to help you survive this year as we're all trying to survive this year. So we have lots of social emotional learning, meditation, coping with tragedy, all the things that are happening, we're trying to address as a district to provide you as parents and families with support. So if you need help, reach out for help and get the support that you need, because we're all stronger together and we're all suffering collectively and trying to make the best of it. So support yourself so that you could best support your child, and we are here to help support you. Tomorrow night we do have another presentation. Ms. Whitney Rivera, do you want to share about the title of that presentation?
Yes, the title for tomorrow's is Grieving a Loss While Living a Life. The presenters will be from Sib's Place, and they focus on dealing with bereavement and coping with loss. And that loss can be any loss, whether it be a physical loss or a symbolic loss. So we hope that you will join us. You will get another reminder email tomorrow night. Tomorrow during the day. If you don't get a chance to register, you know, you can do that tomorrow.
There was one question I think we didn't address, and it was about making the text bigger, whether through Immersive Reader. So if the font or the text on the page is too small, there's always 3 dots on the top of the web browser that you can click, and then you'll see a percentage, and that will allow you to make it bigger or smaller so that you could see the words bigger or smaller. Chrissy, I don't know, does Immersive Reader function in percentages like that, or if you make
No, what it does is it's just a slider. And you just slide up and it makes the text bigger while you're using it or smaller.
Okay, so that ability is there for children who might be visually impaired and need to see a larger version. It's possible
Correct.
to do that. Great. And I see Mr. Bowen
As well as 3 different fonts.
Okay. And I see Mr. Bowen put the link to the YouTube channel in there. And thank you for those of you that added to the subscription. I feel like Mr. Toffolo is going to get us over 100 before we know it. Spread the word. Are there any other questions that anyone wants to pop into the chat? If not, I'll turn over to Mr. Bowen to close out the evening.
Could I say one thing, Dr. DeMeo, in terms of support? The biggest thing that helps the students' computers work really well is if at nighttime, when they're done, just like them when they go to sleep, try to have them not just close the lid, have them actually fully shut it down. It'll make it just run so much smoother the next day. That's that.
Great advice, and I like your comparison also.
And you stole my advice for closing this out as well. So, but yeah, that's a big one, right? One thing that we are used to, and I know the staff on this panel tonight can attest to this, is going into this year, we used our computers, devices on a somewhat regular basis, not to the extent that we're challenging them now. Teachers are using multiple devices in the classroom, and those are at home try to do the same. Our students oftentimes are using the student device in their own cell phone, if that's around, to kind of engage with the teachers. So there's a lot of technology going on, and that does present, a little bit of overload on obviously the student and staff, but as well as the device. So anytime you get to reset it, restart it, close it down, let it sleep for a little bit, and then the next day, engage in that process. Because what we often find are there's a lot of tickets going on period one, and that's because they just open up, kind of what Mr. Follow said. They open up, expect everything to work immediately at 7:50. So we do ask that you kind of restart it or close it out whatever way you can. Charge everything obviously on a regular basis. I want to thank the panel for tonight. This recording will be hopefully posted tomorrow. Again, through that YouTube link, we will post all of our recordings for these forums. On the parent, if you go to the district website, under parents and students, there's a forum drop down all the way at the bottom. That has a list of all of our upcoming forums, as well as resources and recordings from previous forums. So all this information will be shared as well. And Ms. Whitney Rivera will share our information as well regarding upcoming forum for tomorrow. And if this recording is available, she'll share that as well. So I want to thank you for tonight. Did we miss any questions in the last couple minutes here? Or okay?
No, I think
I think we're pretty good. And just when in doubt, start at the vschhsd.org website. It's a very confusing website to say, but it's just the initials for the Valley Stream Central High School District. Everything is housed there. Every link that you're going to need is going to be there. So if you're not sure how to access the YouTube channel, start there, do a simple search, click around, and you should be able to find it.
All right, so thank you again for tonight. Be well, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night. Bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank you for joining us.